In a country whose politics is flavored with seasoned veterans comes the story of a man who hit the ground running, fresh as a newbie, in a demanding political career. Having little to start with but the support of his father and friends, he entered the world of politics amidst the cries of those that called on him for change. To many, he represented hope, a little spark that was expected to ignite a great future. Yet, to others, he was just a dentist from Princestown trying to swim with the big fish. Dr. Adesh Nanan is today one of the most memorable names in Trinidad and Tobago's politics, holding many accolades to his service as a Member of Parliament, as well as a minister in 3 portfolios.
As an Education Minister, as a Tourism Minister, as an Environment Minister, I've been on the National Training Agency for 2 years. I've been on the Environmental Management Authority for 2 more years. I've been able to interact with people. I have not left this sphere of interaction. In fact, in my dental office, I'm more a politician than a dentist because I have to deal with so many problems that come into the office. And people still come for advice in various areas.
He is a very soft-spoken, quiet, almost introverted person. Kind, generous. He was a good debater. He always stuck to the point. If you read some of the parliamentary, the records of Parliament, you will see the kind of debater he was. Not getting into all the bacchanal and so on that is reminiscent of what is happening in your Parliament today.
Long before a thought of a career in politics, Adesh Nanan spent his curious boyhood days at his Princestown home, tinkering with all types of electronic and mechanical gadgets.
My childhood days, as I recall, was really grounded in electronics because I remember at a very tender age I was dabbling in readers and airplanes. In fact, I had built a reader that was able to actually connect with the astronauts at one time. That's where it all started. And then I went into, from that little background in electronics, that was the time CB radios came about.
When he left school, he was pulled towards the field of pharmaceutics, and a diploma in pharmacology landed him a managerial job at the popular Ross Drugs. It was a friend who saw him working late hours at the pharmacy and suggested that he should better himself by pursuing a degree at university.
Although I was at the same level of my classmates, I had the advantage because I was a pharmacist, a qualified pharmacist when I left here. I had worked in many drugstores or pharmacies across the island. So I had a diploma in pharmacy going into Howard University. And second semester sophomore at Howard University, they had to do pharmacology. It was extremely difficult for my classmates. And I became the tutor for my class actually, because it's come across by my apartment for lessons. So I thought, in fact, I gave all my knowledge that I could have given to them in terms of pharmacology, and every single one of them passed pharmacology that year.
In 1992, he left Howard with a BSc in chemistry and zoology and immediately made plans for his post-grad at Southern Illinois University. He decided to make a quick visit to his family back home in Trinidad before the move, but when he arrived, his father had other plans for him. He feared that his son would not be able to face the terrible Chicago winters, and so he asked him not to return to the United States. Adesh reluctantly agreed and applied to School of Dentistry at the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex in Mount Hope. It was here his fate changed once again, as a simple phone call cemented his decision to stay.
I was returning from dental school. We had finished our 44 months there and the program was over. I was not planning to stay here. I had gotten into the University of Southern Illinois in Chicago to do a postgraduate. So I came back here, I shipped all my dental materials and everything to Trinidad. Unfortunately, it got misplaced. So I had to go back up to the airport and make a claim. So I remember quite clearly I was coming back from the airport that night, I was very tired. As I came in, the phone rang.
I had a toothache and I had asked my friend Sastri Anurine to recommend something for me, and he told me he had a dentist friend who had just qualified and was back in Princestown. I was at Bank of Commerce Princestown working that day, and he gave me his number to call him. So I called him that day. I didn't get him. I called him in the evening, and We spoke for about a couple hours.
And that conversation went on after the first few minutes, I think for an hour and a half.
Conversation was very interesting. I realized he was a very intelligent person, and needless to say, the toothache kind of just disappeared.
So after the conversation, we made arrangements. I went to see her in the bank, and if I remember correctly, I went to see her in the bank, and she came. I didn't have a picture of her or anything like that. So when I went into the bank, I asked for her, and she came. And I now knew that she came out and said that she isn't there.
Then he came by and asked to see me. Of course, I needed a memento, so I pretended it wasn't me.
So to pass back.
And then he came back a little later, and I was very happy to meet him because I was kind of hoping that he was as handsome as well as he sounded on the phone.
So I went down to the pharmacy, I think, and came back. And then she came, the same person came on and said, "I am Sylvie." So that is a prank, but that's how I met her.
That's where we met her.
At that particular branch in Princestown.
The two were married a year later in August of 1993 and celebrated another milestone not long after when he graduated from the School of Dentistry as Dr. Adesh Nanan, Doctor of Dental Surgery. He opened a practice in Princestown and attracted business from as far as Tabaquite. His patients would often sit in his chair and tell him of the many problems their communities were experiencing. This young doctor felt that something had to be done soon and made the decision to enter the local government elections, a decision that would once again change the course of his life. That year, the ruling People's National Movement had seen its majority in Parliament diminish to one seat when they lost the by-election to the United National Congress. General elections had to be called early, and Dr. Nanan, who was preparing himself to run as a councillor for the UNC, was now thrust into the campaigns of the big league.
It changed our lives because I had to call him on the phone to speak with him. He was never around, and I had a lot to deal with. And even though I didn't support politics too much, I supported him in his decision. And I think that from then to now, I've realized why he went into politics. Really, it was his wanted to help people, and from him I learned the same, and we got an opportunity to help a lot of people along the way. So I think we're better for it today.
You had very little time for yourself in terms of marriage and that. I most likely I neglected my family because of the political arena. I remember going through my constituency, having meetings too. It was a great opportunity to meet people and talk to people and listen to people and see what are their needs. My father, I must pay special tribute to my father because when I got into politics and I had to go through the constituency of Tabaquite, he was very familiar with a lot of the families in that area.
To break the election tie of 1992 and obtain government, the UNC entered a coalition with the National Alliance for Reconstruction, forming the new UNCA under the leadership of Prime Minister Basdeo Panday.
I knew Adesh Nanan through members of his family who I knew very well. I knew a relative of his, I think it's his uncle, Dr. Basdeo Nanan, who was my doctor, and his nephew, or cousin I think it was, Mr. Wilson Nanan, was a member of the ULF that went into office in 1976. So I knew him fairly well. And therefore when the elections of 1995 came about, I asked him to be a member of Parliament for the seat he ran, and he won. So he became a member of Parliament in 1995, and he remained a member of Parliament until 2002.
In his constituency, Dr. Nanan was the self-proclaimed Tabaquite Tiger, fighting to meet the needs of the people who called on him day and night. From 1995 to 1999, Dr. Nanan also served in government as Minister of Education and recalls his tenure as being one of the most productive.
He set up all the institutions that were necessary for us to launch the revolution in education. As you recall, during that period, we had put education at the top of our priority as a means of dealing with both with crime and with unemployment.
The World Bank loan allowed us to build 3 secondary schools. and I think over 50 primary schools, and we also had to be able to build 10 early childhood centers every year for a period of 5 years. But those things, you will see if you are interviewing anybody, any minister will be interviewed will say, well, I built so-and-so schools and I continue a building program. But what was characteristic at that time was the standardization of the primary school textbooks. Because we had the mandate actually was a one-book policy, which was not accepted by all. So it was very difficult to get into a one-book policy. But we did. I, as a Minister of Education at that time, was able to introduce the standardization of textbooks from about 15 textbooks in a school to probably 1 to 3.
After 4 years in the Ministry of Education and a cabinet reshuffle, Dr. Nanan was now placed in the Ministry of Tourism, with responsibilities that were different, but not difficult for him. He welcomed the change of pace, as he and his wife also welcomed their first child, Brianna.
Yes, some of the challenges that he faced, of course, being his other half, impacted a lot on me. Like, people never remember the 99% of the good that they do, but what is flashed across the newspapers front page is the 1% that probably did not work out in somebody's favor. Things like that. Those are the times that it was difficult for me, but I remained rooted and in the Lord, and so did he. And I think maybe because we have remained rooted in our religion and our faith, that those things really was bearable. We've gone through it and we're okay with it.
2001 would see another cabinet reshuffle, as this time Dr. Nanan was given the portfolio of Minister of Environment.
Oh, I love being Minister of Environment. In fact, when I was there as Minister of the Environment, I introduced the water pollution rules into the, in fact, and was working together with the EMA. Now I am now a director in the EMA, and I was responsible for signing off the water pollution rules as Minister of the Environment.
As politics would have it, the UNCA lost the 2002 general election to the PNM, but the Tabaqui Tiger reclaimed his reign in his constituency, serving as opposition MP until 2007, when he was appointed to the Senate. The new portfolio made Dr. Nanan no less busy. His passion for research heavily influenced his unique style of committee contributions and bill debates.
I think Dr. Nanan's contribution in politics will be judged by his tenure as Minister of Education, and I think it's in that ministry he excelled.
As you recall, during that period, we had put education at the top of our priority as a means of dealing with both with crime and with unemployment. And we abolished the common entrance exam, as you recall. Introduce free secondary education for all children. It is he who put in place all the institutions to do that. He was an excellent minister.
In 2003, the Nanan family had seen another addition of a son, Nikolai, and having 2 young children at home stirred him on to be the finest example of a father and a leader.
I would describe Dr. Nanan as a truly godly man. And I say that based on several aspects of his character, his life. He's a faithful man to church, and one of the things I admire about him is that he does not send his family to church, he brings his family to church.
I remember very clearly when I accepted the Lord and I became a born-again Christian. Again, with my friend Dr. Nanan, who, when I raised my hand for the altar call, he was right beside me, taking me straight up to the altar. And that's when I met Pastor Janka Singh. Has been my pastor ever since. And he has followed my career right through, and he has always been very supportive. And he has always prayed for us, my entire family. Every time we are going through, anytime we go to the service, he's also always asking us how we are doing, how is everything, and continue to pray for us all the time.
Today, Dr. Adesh Nanan continues to serve in leadership. He has maintained a thriving dental practice and sits as chairman of the Parent Action Committee at his daughter's school, Naparima Girls. Whether a minister in politics or the gospel, a dental surgeon or father of 2, Dr. Adesh Nanan remains a competent and formidable leader in all spheres.